still and know that I am God. So in order to be still and know that I am God, we need to, firstly, let God take control of our lives. So how do we do that? By trusting in Him. There's many times where we think, reason things out, analyse, ask around for other people's opinions. We micromanage our lives and wonder why things become so stressful and out of control. Well, God wants us to trust in Him, even if we don't understand why or what things are happening. When life seems unfair or we feel like we can't take the pressure, we need to let go and trust His promises because He won't let our lives fall apart. Sometimes God may keep us in a difficult situation because He wants us to learn or use us in the situation. In Jeremiah 29, verse 11, verse 13, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. Then you will call on me and come and pray to me, and I will listen to you. You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all of your heart." So remember, God wants us to succeed in all areas. When things aren't going along the way we planned, it doesn't mean that things won't turn out good. God promises to prosper us, give us a hope and a future. We must first be still and know that I am God. There's a saying, if God is your co-pilot, switch seats. Second of all, to be still and know that I am God, we also need to have faith. So what is faith? In Hebrews 11 verse 1, it says, "Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen." So faith is believing in something which we cannot see. Even though we cannot see God, we know that He is real. Let me give you an example. So what I have here is a glass of water and a piece of cardboard. So gravity is still working to make the water not fall onto the floor. But the air, which we cannot see, is stronger than gravity. It's keeping the cardboard in place. So you can see air is like faith, something we cannot see but is real. Faith is a doing work. It requires work if we are to maintain or increase it. If we are not doing things to help increase our faith, it will stop growing or will weaken. So some of the things that we can do to increase our faith include reading the Bible, praying, serving others around us, being thankful, or even attending church. Faith requires constant attention. In James chapter 2 verse 26, it says, "As the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without deeds is dead." How often do we ask God for everything, but don't stop to listen or be still? Let me ask you a question. Please raise your hand if you have a mobile phone. Who has an iPad or a tablet? Who uses Facebook? Instagram? Who checks their email or Facebook at least once a day? More than 3 times a day. Let me ask you a few other questions. You don't have to raise your hand, but think about it. What's the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning? Who checks their mobile phones for messages? Who checks their Facebook or email? Who reaches out to do a devotional and prayer? All these things consume our time. We are caught up in a world that is fast-paced. We're busy with work, study, being a parent, or something else. This leaves little time for quietness or silence. God says we need to learn to be still, to to step out of the traffic of life so that we can receive what God has for us. We can't do that if God isn't our priority, or we don't include quietness or silence in our day. So we must find time for Him. By being still before God for a short time, we make space to see, hear, and experience God's goodness to us. For example, when we've been on hikes or campouts, we get the time to see God's creation in nature: the mountains, the flowers, animals, and the ocean. Knowing and loving God is a lifetime process. The more time we spend with Him, the better we get to know Him. It's just like meeting new friends. The more time you spend together, the better you get to know them. It's harder to get to know a person if you only spend once or twice a year catching up, compared to spending once or twice a week meeting up. This is the same with God. By spending time with Him, we get to know Him and understand the promises He gives us. He is trustworthy, and we can lean on Him always, and He keeps His promises. In the Bible, in Proverbs chapter 3, verse 6, it says, "In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your paths." A great formula and start in getting to know God better, which Pastor Daniel taught us last week, is to Bible study and pray 7-7-7. 7 a.m., 7 p.m., 7 days a week. So let's remember to be still and know that I am God.